Disney's new adaptation to the live-action genre, if you will, of their films is The Lion King. It's many things, but is it good, universe? Let's discuss it. Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe. Guys, I'm one of your hosts, as always, C-Dubs, and as you guys can see, I'm literally riding solo on this video, guys. So I just got done watching the latest installment to the remakes / new adaptations of their cartoon library, if you will, their fantasy fairy tale library, their animated library that's been turned, and I use this term loosely, into live action, if you will. And this time on the docket is The Lion King. If you've never seen The Lion King and you've been living under a rock for the past 20-25 years or so, this is Disney's version of Hamlet, and or, if you will, inspiration from Kimba the White Lion, if you will. So we're just going to put that out there. We are aware here of the inspirations that this film does take from, even if Disney themselves doesn't always acknowledge their inspirations. Now, also on this, I wanted to touch on, I understand that Disney gets a lot of flack and a lot of negative hate just for being who they are. This giant juggernaut in the film industry that just gobbles up everything, okay, and has their fingers in touching everything. And I get it, and I understand why some people hate them, but for me personally, I always look at Disney, especially since I lived in Orlando for the past 22 years. The way I look at it is, until they do me wrong or they take a franchise that I love and just totally run it into the ground, I basically judge it on a case-by-case basis. And I think that's the way we all should do when it comes to such a juggernaut like this, because I honestly feel that the good from them far outweigh the bad. Hell, without them, we wouldn't have the Avengers where they are today. So, at the very least, us geeks and nerds that stick around and hang out here on the channel, we gotta thank them for that at the very least. So, this movie. Now, to some degree, these reimaginings, especially if they're shot for shot, like, let's say, The Beauty and the Beast for the most part, you know, you could easily look at them as just cash grabs, sure. But let's be honest, if you ran a company and you were able to do this, you would do it too. So let's just try to look past that and look at it with a peaceful eye, if you will. Let's try to eliminate the hate that a lot of us have for Disney for whatever the reason may be. Now, The Lion King. This is a movie that's near and dear to my heart. It is the movie that I have seen the most in the movie theater. I have seen the animated version of The Lion King a total of 8 times. If you count me seeing the live-action version right now, that's a total of 9 times. It's almost 10 times I've seen this film, and in fact, I think I'm going to go see it again in XD, because one of my biggest beefs with this film is the sound design, okay? And I don't know if it was just my theater, my movie, the speakers in my theater. So, as always, guys, I'm going to be honest, be completely transparent, give you the good, the bad, the badass, top it off with a score, and let you know if you should spend your hard-earned money to go see it, which you probably already have, considering it's Sunday. And this movie's been killing it at the box office. So, Disney's The Lion King. Again, it is an adaptation, a reimagining of Shakespeare's Hamlet, if you will. Kimba the White Lion, Simba, he is a part of a lineage of royal blood, if you will, of the Pride Lands, of a lion pride, if you will. And his uncle, Scar, basically was next in line if something were to happen to Simba's father, Mufasa. And he devises a plan to eliminate the bloodline so that he would be able to take over the Pride Lands and actually be able to rule as king, speaking Scar here. So that's basically the plot, and Simba has to make his way back and fight back for his kingdom. That's it if you don't know, again, if you've been living under a rock. So, this movie has a star-studded cast. Some brought back, like James Earl Jones, okay, and as the voice of Mufasa, which is absolutely awesome. And there's a few other celebrities that are still alive today that I wish we could have brought back, but you know, for whatever the reason, I understand, and I can see why maybe they didn't bring everyone back, because then it's just continuously rehashing. But again, his voice is so iconic that if they didn't get him from Mufasa, it probably would have been just an absolute just bonfire, to be honest with you. People probably would have rioted in the streets. Now, some of the famous actors that are actually in this film that voice some of our favorite characters, if you will. You have Childish Gambino as the adult version of Simba, you have Beyonce as Nala, you have Seth Rogen as Pumbaa. These guys they all do a good enough to great job, if you will. The good of this movie is the visual effects. Let me tell you, I think these CGI animals look better than real life animals. I'm telling you, if you're just like blowing it off because there's no actual, like, let's say like in the Jungle Book, how there was at least one human to ground the movie for you, dude, you're doing yourself a disservice, because I honest to God have never seen something look so good in my life. This may be the single best looking film in just terms of realism, and considering there's no realism here. Like, when it's really hard and you have to visualize it if you haven't seen it. When the lions move, you see their veins, you see their muscle flexing. Okay, not just in one arm, their whole freaking body. Okay, the shading of the light in some areas, the wind blowing, how some follicles of hair are moving. I'm telling you guys, it's absolutely mind-blowing and boggling. I just could not believe what I had seen. And I seen this in IMAX 3D on top of it. And let me tell you, worth every single penny in that regard. Blow your fucking mind. Alright, like, Avatar is pretty in its own way with the colors. Avengers is pretty with the action. But this is just pretty, and it looks more real. I'm talking like, when you see Scar, and I'm not talking about just Scar in his eye, just the literal scars on his body or the tufts of fur, man, let me tell you, okay? Or when you're looking at Pumbaa and you see the follicles of whisker hair individualized, and you're just like, wow, absolutely mind-blowing. Another really good part is that they try their very best to stay true to the story, the animated story. They follow, for the most part, in the same pattern, a lot of the same cues. They do obviously sing a lot of the same songs. There is one song, unfortunately my favorite song in the Disney's Lion King, Be Prepared, that I really was excited for, and it was absolute booty. Yes, I said booty. It was just terrible. It really made me sad. It kind of broke my heart, to be honest with you. Another really good is the emotion. And part of it may be skewed because of how big of a fan I am of the original. And if this might be the first time you've ever seen it, I would hope that this scene does it just as good for you. It's not as good as the animated, but it's close. And it's the death of Mufasa. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. Sorry, I should have said that to begin with. But man, oh man, I mean, this movie's been out for years, so you should have seen it already. I'm just saying. Let me tell you, and if you haven't seen the original, the animated version, if it's not out on DVD or Blu-ray, and you can't find it anywhere else, when the Disney streaming service does come live later on this year, they are said to have every Disney animated film ever made on there day one. So guys, check that out for sure. His death, impactful, you feel it. Just the way, the after effect may be a little different, like the conversation with Scar and how he lays next to Mufasa, talking about Simba laying next to Mufasa when he dies. That might not be on par, but the actual heightened, oh my god, get him out of there, save Simba, oh my god, I know what's about to happen. You're at the edge of your seat, and when it happens, your heart still sinks down deep into your chest and breaks into a million pieces. That is the good. That is on point, okay? On to the bad, guys. I wish I could tell you there was no bad here. I wanted this movie to be an event. I wanted this movie to be, anytime someone said, well, man, they're just doing this for a cash grab. Yeah, man, they're just doing this for whatever. Yeah, man, all these live action versions of these movies suck. I wanted to be like, have you seen Lion King? Point at the Lion King, be like, dude, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. But unfortunately, I don't have the ability to do that, because this movie, especially coming from Jon Favreau, who did the Jungle Book so well. And again, I know there's at least one human in there, but it was so well. Even the way the animals interacted with each other, the way everything looked, it was so good. I thought this movie was gonna kill it, and it didn't. Part of the problem, again, as much as I rave about how great the visual effects are, where a lot of the problem is, and I've heard this from other reviewers, and it's true. Okay, some of the emotion that they try to convey throughout the film, and I'm not just talking about the death of Mufasa, it's sprinkled without you don't get the same feeling because they're not animating their face, because they look so realistic, if you will. When you're dealing with an animated version, you can morph the face a little more, make them look sad, make them look happy. And yes, there are some things that you can do to an animal to make them look those things, but not to the extent that you really need to convey some of these emotions. And unfortunately, even some of those things that they could do to help, they don't do. I'm going to give you an example. Here's another spoiler alert. After Mufasa dies and Scar is talking to Simba, and he's basically blaming him, telling him it's his fault, he needs to run, your father is dead. You know, when he tells him that, and the impact of his father dying, you know, I get it, you can't maybe morph his eyes to look sad, but you can maybe make him squint, or put his freaking ears back. Like, when you scold your dog and your dog is sad, he puts his ears back. A lion would do the same thing, okay? And it's just very unfortunate that they didn't take those advantages. And this is going to sound really weird, and I promise I'm not a creeper, okay? But everything looks so realistic. Because it's a freaking Disney movie, they opt to not making all these animals look atomically correct. And hopefully you understand what I mean by that. I'm going to give you a simple example. I'm not just talking about genitalia or anything on the animals. But obviously, if this was, you know, National Geographic, you would see all of those things in it. And it's not something that's, you know, a big deal. That's life. That's reality. That's the way it should be. I think those things should have been here. But even if you didn't want to put genitalia there, that's fine. For instance, when we get to the baboon, okay, Rafiki, he is should have a blue butt, right? Shouldn't he? At least that's what I remember that animal to be like. He doesn't. So it's a little disheartening that he doesn't have that. And again, just some of the genitalia where you would expect to see things, or, you know, just as a mother animal, there's certain body parts that sag or things like that. I know this sounds really weird, but it's so realistic that your mind starts to visualize, like you're almost watching, you know, National Geographic, and then you see that and you're like, it snaps you back out of the reality. The moment the movie starts to suck you in, something like that, and you're just like, oh yeah, of course, we're watching a CGI movie. So it's a little weird, a little wonky. And one other really bad part, and I'm telling you, if I ever see Jon Favreau, I'm going to ask him to stick his hand out, and I'm going to smack him on the wrist, because you don't get a pass for this. Okay, can you feel the air tonight, in the air tonight, you know, the song where Nala and Simba fall in love, right? You know that, you know it, we all seen it, right? It talks about tonight. The whole scene is in the daytime. The whole scene, from start to finish. Not dusk, not dawn, not noon. It's daytime, period. It's just, I'm like, come on, man. Like, make it during the nighttime like the damn song says. So those are just some of my little beefs with it. The badass, some of the fight choreography. Seth Rogen steals this movie. Azazu, Timon and Pumbaa, all of these guys are actually, I think, the best parts of the film. They're really, really good. They still steal it. They kill it. Pumbaa especially, absolutely loved him. I'm not saying it as a fanboy, because yes, I do like Seth Rogen, but dude, let me tell you, trust me, he was the perfect cast. Now, speaking of casting, I'm going to touch back on something maybe a little less desired by some people. And again, I have to walk on eggshells on this, especially in the day and age that we live in, and I wish I didn't have to. Some of the voice casting, no matter how much I love them for their craft, what they're known for, if you will, they don't necessarily deliver here for me. One in particular is Beyonce. Amazing singer, one of the greatest of all time. I can't hate and I can't knock her hustle, right? But she talks, she's just so iconic that she's not a voice actor. And I'm not saying she can't act, but she's just not a voice actor. You hear Beyonce, like, and again, for some people that may not matter, but to me, I heard Beyonce. It was hard for me to separate that. And it was even worse for me with adult Simba. I heard Childish Gambino. I heard Donald Glover, and I was picturing him the whole way, and there was not enough inflection or change to the way they did their deliveries, and then added in the lack of emotion from the actual design of the animals, that it took me out okay, at times where I was really ready to get back into the groove. Another really part of the badass, though, were the hyenas. The hyenas are on point. I think they're terrifying. I think they're eerie. I think they're grotesque in some ways. They look diseased. They look dangerous. Scar, I thought, was really cool. Another really shining part is just you understood his wicked ways. You felt that he was just looking at him. You felt he was evil. But overall, I gotta say, I enjoyed it. I am gonna go see it again because I want to hear it better in sound. Because the sound, the music, nothing really hit, and I don't know why. This is one of my favorite movies. The music I wanted to be better. It just sounded off to me. So I want to see it again, maybe in better sound quality. This way I can give it a better shot. And I'll let you guys know maybe through Facebook or whatnot. If it was better in XD and if that's the way you should see it. But I gotta say, if you're in it for the visuals, IMAX is definitely worth your while. 3D was worth it in that regard. The end fight scene where the lightning strikes the Pride Lands and everything gets set on fire, the little embers that float up, oh my god, man, it was beautiful. Like, I felt the tension from that fight alone. So it was really, really good. The ending was probably the best part of the film. And guys, if you've seen it, let me know in the comments below. Did you feel the same way I did? Did you think they looked good? Did you get taken out from time to time like I kept, finding myself in? And guys, how do you feel about these live action adaptations, and what movie do you hope they take from, the animated world to the live action? For me, I'm hoping that we get a Black Cauldron. It never gets any love as an animated film. Maybe we can get some love for it as a feature full-length movie. And if you can't do it with, the whole Disney thing, because it's just a little too dark and scary, even though Maleficent, I think, is pretty dark and scary, it's very comparable, if you will. If we can't do that, maybe through the Fox logo somehow weasel that movie in there. That'd be really cool. But yeah, guys, let me know again in the comments below. What do you guys think? Guys, please, at this point in time, take a moment. If you like what we're doing here, give us a thumbs up. We got a lot of cool ideas coming. We're going to have some more San Diego Comic-Con videos coming your way. Just some of our thoughts and things like that as we try to process everything that just happened, guys. Share with your friends. Tell your friends about us. Let us, so we can all kind of hang out together and talk. Don't forget to check us out on all of our other social medias. On Twitter, we're at Comic YOuHQ. Facebook, Comic YOUniverse. Everywhere else, IG. You can catch us on TikTok. We're everywhere, guys. Comic YOUniverse, you'll find us, guys. Until next time, I'm C-Dubs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.